Hi everyone, this is Iggy for Iggy's Toy Parade and Soldier Review. And in today's video, we're going to remember the Alamo, or more specifically, the figures made for the Alamo playset by Marx Toys. Now, the first playset by Marx concerning the Alamo coincided with the Walt Disney production of Davy Crockett. Walt Disney created some episodes for TV and then later stitched them together to make a movie out of it. And for many of us that are over 60 years old, our memory is of the Fess Parker Davy Crockett. And many of us had the coonskin hat, and we enjoyed playing Davy Crockett. And that came out in 1955, and Marx released their playset. And I'd like to show you a picture of the original Walt Disney Davy Crockett set. And let me move the camera back just a wee bit. This painting that you see illustrated here is from the Time Life book, The Texans. Okay, let's move the Sears catalog. Now again, when I say Sears catalog, what I mean is this abridged copy called The Big Toy Box at Sears, 1951 to 1969 by Classic Toy Soldiers. This is still available to be purchased, and it's a valuable guide. I refer to it so much that I've had to tape the pages up because it's getting so worn out. But let's take a look at the Marx playset for 1955. I actually remembered to mark. You guys are going to be proud of me. I actually marked the page. And here's the set. Now the set came with 5 cannons. It came with what we call Shaco Mexican troops. You can see an example of that here. And then Mexican cavalry, which we refer to as Presidio. And some guys called them Zorro Mexicans because the Zorro playset came out with figures that were dressed like these. And of course, Sergeant Garcia from the old Zorro show wore the costume with the which would have been the cavalry uniform. I can't. My vision's not so great, but it may be that the Presidio Mexicans weren't introduced until the 1961 set. So we'll take a look at the 61 set next. Now, I have one of these sets that I bought in 1995. You can tell it's what I have is a reproduction because mine on the gate says Davy Crockett Alamo with images of Fess Parker on either side. And in the originals, it will say Walt Disney's Davy Crockett. And of course, the one I have that I got in 95, I believe was manufactured in 94 and was offered through Sears catalog. And I remember I ordered it like 5 months before Christmas, or 4 months or anyway. And I got a letter in the mail saying they were sold out. So I was very disappointed. And then something weird happened. The day after Christmas, we got a package. I opened it up and it was the playset. So I guess someone had canceled an order or something because I was told through official correspondence that it was sold out. But anyway, I was fortunate to get a set. It came with a autographed picture of Fess Parker, which of course was mass produced, so it wasn't really an authentic signature. I wish I could have met Fess Parker. He had a hotel in Santa Barbara, and he'd come out and talk with guests. My friend John talked with him for quite a while. He said he was a super nice guy. And all the employees that worked there said the same thing. They said he was a super great guy to work with. And I think you can kind of get the sense of that when you watch Daniel Boone or Davy Crockett or the great, what was it called? The Great Train Escape? Was that the name of the movie? It was a Disney movie that he was in that I really enjoyed, based on a true story. Anyway, so that's it for the 1955 set. I want you to pay particular close attention to the pioneers, because in the first set they're really not very good, and I'm going to show you a closer view of them in just a moment. So let's go to the 1961 set, and that would be the John Wayne era. So let's take it the John Wayne era. Here we go. Here's the John Wayne Alamo playset. And you can see the gate has been changed. It just simply says Alamo now. And in this set, can you see Presidio Mexicans? I believe that's one there. And they have the Western horses, which I like better than the other horses. The Western horses, I think, they're thicker and their poses are more dynamic. Here's an example of the Presidio Mexican that they also included in the Zorro playset. All right, so let's take a look. Oh, I something important to point out here is now they have the pioneers that we are accustomed to. Like, for instance, here's one here. And I'm going to be showing you those today. All right, so let's set this aside. So some of you might be thinking, well, what's the Alamo all about? I'm sure, well, maybe not many of you, because I'm sure you all remember the Alamo. But if you'd like to learn more than just what the movies present to you, this book here by Walter Lord, A Time to Stand, is a really good foundation for exploring the historical Alamo. I highly recommend this. This was published in 1961. Walter Lord was famous for publishing A Night to Remember in 1955, and then which was the story of the sinking of the Titanic. And this one here is about the Alamo, and I think he did a really wonderful job. And I think it's still, even though there's been more information uncovered, especially in Mexico, concerning the death of Davy Crockett, this book is still, I think, I keep shaking, I'm sorry. I think this is a great way to start. Now, if you'd like to learn more about the visual aspect of the Alamo, you can get books such as these. This is an English series produced by Osprey Publication. And this particular book is by Philip. Now, I'm going to try this, but it's got to be a Welsh name because it's like 50 feet long. Haythornthwaite. Haythornthwaite. Oh my God. Try saying that with holding onto your tongue. Haythornthwaite. The illustrator is Paul Hannon. I think I saw this guy at Winn-Dixie, the market around the corner. He asked me for $1. And it gives you some idea of what the Mexican troops look like. Let's show you that. And I was talking about Presidio Mexican. That would be this fellow here. And then the Shaco Mexican would be this fella. And of course, these guys. And this gives the story of the Alamo, plus provides you with nice visuals in case you want to paint your figures. I don't like to normally paint mine. I like to be in a light blue plastic for Mexicans. And then I like a rusty brown for pioneers. Okay, so I said there was a problem with the 1955 set. So let's refer to this Ford Apache because the pioneers that were in the early Ford Apache were also in the Alamo. By the way, they do publish a book about the Alamo. So you may want to check that out too. All right, let's see. I think I got them right here. There they are. Now these figures I think are pretty sad. They're a very small scale. They're like 2 inches tall, 45 millimeter, and you can see they're sort of primitive. In fact, let's take a look at this guy over here. He's got an arrow in his shoulder, but it looks like he has to pee. Like, oh my God, I hope the gas station is open. I gotta pee. So it's not a very compelling pose or interesting pose. And then, of course, these other figures, they're just, I don't know, they're just, by the way, they're when you're a kid, these were hard to play with because if you had carpet, because they have no stands, these guys would fall over. These three are the mounted figures. But what in the hell is this guy? He's like, excuse me, friends. I'm sorry to do that. Just pardon me, but I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Anyway, I'm sorry I did that. That's kind of gross. Anyway, so there's our early pioneers. So without further ado, you guys have put up with a lot of me talking here. Let's take a look at the figures. I have them in this box here. And it still has Christmas wrapping paper in there. My brother always gets me cool stuff for Christmas. All right, we're going to try and get some more light on here because that's better. The reason I turned the light off is because it kept reflecting off of you see this here. It's kind of annoying. All right, so let's take a look at the pioneers. I'll turn this other light around here too. There we go. That's getting better. And we'll turn this light. There we are. Okay, let's move this book here. And this. All right, now, first up, pioneers. Now, mine are in a, I know some people call it Adobe color, Ford Apache color. I think these figures. Now, you got to be careful with this, guys, because this is a reproduction or a repro figure, not to be mistaken with repo. Repo is for repossessed. So that would be like Linda Blair. She was repossessed on the sequel. This is a repro as in reproduction. However, the reason I ask you to be careful is look at this. It's stamped. Can you see that? It's stamped Marx Toys. Is that upside down? I don't have my reading glasses on, so it's very difficult to... Anyway, so be careful of that because these were probably advertised as original Marx figures. And you tell by the glossy plastic that it's not. Now, they have some nice figures that I'm guessing are meant to represent Fess Parker, because this is how he was dressed in the TV show. Now, the original 1955 Marx Alamo set came with a 60 millimeter figure of Daniel Boone. God, what am I saying? Hello, Rich. It was of Davy Crockett. And, oh my God, that guy was right. That is a pheasant. I got a text from someone that said, methinks that's not a turkey, it's a pheasant. And I wrote him back saying, it's a turkey. But if you look at that closely, that's definitely a pheasant. So my apologies. When I'm wrong, I will always admit to it. I'm not one of those people that cannot admit when they're mistaken. And here's another great. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the camera. This is another great Daniel Boone. Why do I keep saying that? Davy Crockett figure swinging old Betsy there. So that's pretty cool. And this guy has a flintlock pistol and a tomahawk. And this is a nice set. It comes with 2 figures of each pose. So here's another Davy Crockett figure. Yeah, I didn't realize there were so many. I probably should have set this up before I started. Originally, I wasn't going to set them up at all, but there was a fellow that got really upset with me that I didn't set up my Battleground set. This fellow here has an arrow in his shoulder. So that must have not felt too good. And let's see, this guy does too. All right, what I'm going to do is set them all up, and then I'll sweep over it. I'll put these character figures in the front here. Looks like there's 3 of them. Okay. All right, well, let's take a look at them. These figures showed up in the 1961 Alamo set, which was the John Wayne Alamo. Now, if you've ever had a chance to watch all the Alamo movies, it's really interesting how they deal with the death of Davy Crockett. Now, the most recent Alamo movie, I think, tries to actually show how they think that he died, which is he surrendered and then was killed by order of Santa Anna. And then in the 1955 version, they don't actually show him being killed. I guess they didn't want to upset the kids, but they show him swinging old Betsy, and then the camera slowly fades up and then moves up, and you see the 1824 flag. And the 1824 flag was the pioneers who came to Texas were promised a constitution in 1824, and the reason why they went into rebellion is because they felt like Santa Anna reneged on his promises about the Constitution of 1824. Although it might have been better to show "Come and Take It." I like that flag too. All right, you guys, there's the pioneers. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the Mexican troops. Let's move the pioneers aside. Scoop them aside. All right, and here we have Presidio Mexicans, or when I was a kid, I called them Zorro Mexicans because I didn't know what a Presidio was. And these are the cavalry figures. Can you guys see? Let me tilt it so you can see it better. I think I missed setting up the pioneers. Yeah, I like these figures. I like the color. I've always liked the baby blue figures for the Alamo Mexicans. And this you can tell has got to be from the Zorro playset, because he's fighting Zorro. And this one, I think he's supposed to be holding a flag, and the flag is broken off in the top. So that's annoying. Yeah, just 2 horseback riders. Yeah, this one here. Okay, and then they have this one here. Now these guys in the movie are supposed to be lancers. A couple more figures to go. Okay, well, they got some nice action poses here. I like these. All right, so let's give you an idea of what they look like. Go to the back here. And these are a lot of collectors call this the powder blue. Some people call it sky blue for obvious reasons. So there we have the Presidio, or the Lancers, or the Zorro Mexicans. And I know these were present in the 1961 Alamo playset. Okay, let's scoot these guys over. Now, I don't think there's as many poses in the Shaco Mexican, so let's take a look at what we have. Again, we're in the powder blue. So, all right, so we have a fella advancing. Now, I guess with this, you could tuck a ladder under his arm. Oh, you know, one of the Alamo movies I want, let's see, this is good because he's firing up to the parapet. One of the movies I saw, it shows Lancers attacking the wall, which I thought was weird. But what's even weirder is that before they even got to the wall, there was like ladders against the wall. And I'm like, well, that was nice of the Texians to place all those ladders against the wall for the Mexicans to climb up. I thought that was funny. Now, this is a weird pose. I never liked, even when I was a kid, I didn't like this pose. He's holding a musket, and he's got his sword. I don't know, for some reason, I just do not like this guy. I can't explain it. And I got a couple of them. So you can see here, there's not a whole lot of poses. I'm guessing there's 4 different poses. Let's take a look. Now, I mentioned that this particular pose here would be good for carrying the ladder. And then this guy here, I'm guessing he's been shot because he's bent over, kind of funny. They should have had his musket coming out of his hand, though, so that you would know for sure that he had been shot. All right, we're going to set them all up. And then I can't set up the riders, but there appears to be 2 different riders. And 2 different poses. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry. Here. Is it 5 different poses? Let's see. Let's count them, guys. We got this guy here, this guy, this guy, this guy. Yeah, no, there's just 4 different poses. So the set came with 4 different poses of the Shaco Mexicans and 2 different poses of the riders. I guess mounted infantry in this case. And there's our Shaco Mexicans. All right, now next up is some artillery pieces that I purchased. Now, in the description of the playset, it says that it has came with 5 cannons. But interestingly, when I looked at the picture in the Sears catalog, it showed 2 cannons inside the fort and 4 cannons on the outside of the fort. So I'm not sure what that's about. All right, so we'll set up the cannons. Now, many of you recognize this from the blue and gray playset and also Fort Apache. And you'll notice this part here. See that? It's kind of weird looking. The reason for that is there was originally a spring here, and you would pull the spring back and lock it to the side. You'd put a plastic shell in here, and then you'd flip the spring, and when this came forward, the inertia from the spring would hit the shell and send it out to your target. And I have a picture of what the spring looked like, so I'll show that to you in just a moment. Now, I have 5 of these cannons. These, right away, are reproductions because they're sort of glossy looking and they're missing the spring. However, you can get original Marx cannons without the spring because at some point after the Child Safety Act, they began producing the cannons, all their cannons, without the spring-loaded ability to fire shells. So let me take a look at the book so I can show you what we're talking about. And here it is. I marked the page. I'm getting smarter. I'm kind of slow, as you noticed. And there's the spring. Let me move this box. And we'll flip it there. That's better. And see that it's kind of a primitive spring, actually. But you can see that you would pull that back and then lock it to the side over here. And then when you're ready to fire, you just push that top part right there, and it would fly forward, hit the shell, and send it out the barrel. So what does the shells look like? Well, here's a strip of them. Here's a strip of shells. This is how many you would get per cannon. Okay, guys. That's it for this time. Eventually, I'll get my Alamo fort out of storage so that you guys can take a look at that too. And that's all I've got for you this time. This is Iggy saying thank you for getting Iggy with it. And we'll see you next time. Take care of yourself, guys, all right? And keep collecting. Never give up. Don't let your wife talk you out of... Oh, wait, I shouldn't say that. Your wife has a lot more power than... it reminds me of Emperor Palpatine. The dark side has more power than you can imagine, or your feeble skills can match, or something along those lines. He would make a great supervisor. Anyway, take care, guys. Thank you.